Looks like we can go live here. All right, we're good. So now we're live on Facebook and YouTube. I'll be watching for questions here. And the first question that I have for you guys is, please let me know where you're tuning in from, which country, which city, and let's see here. All right, I'm already seeing some familiar faces here. Hey, Jason from Costa Rica again. We have Lindsay there in San Francisco ready to answer questions on the chat. And we're getting Logan. Hey, Logan. Talking from the US. Lindsay's in San Francisco again. It's so nice to be back, right? I was last Monday. We try to do this every Monday no matter what, our XD weekly. And last Monday was a holiday in the US. So I'm very happy to be back here to talk with you guys, get your feedback, good and bad. One of the things that we're always curious is like, hey, are you playing with XD? If not, why? All of these little things can help us do a lot more. And as I started, again, my name is Demian Borba. I work on the strategic development team at Adobe, focused on the community, focused on you guys, and also really focused on working with key customers to bring all that feedback, your feedback, back to the product team. And I'm here every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time to have this open conversation with you guys, to answer questions, provide some new features, some tips, some tricks here and there. But again, this is really for you guys. This is really an opportunity, just another opportunity for you to sync with us on the Adobe side. All right, so let's get started. I will share my screen here, and the first thing I'd like to show is MAX. So as you might know, we have this huge conference called Adobe MAX that takes place every year around October. And this year it will be in LA, and it's going to be another great MAX. We're going to have a lot of good announcements there, not only XD focused. There's a lot of good things coming for XD that I wish I could tell you, but there's a lot of great stuff coming for XD. Next week we're going to be doing on the weekly show, we're going to do a sneak of the upcoming release that's coming in September. But then in October, when we have MAX, we're going to have a better and bigger release for XD. So here I have the website. So if you're interested in attending, again, you'll be in Los Angeles, max.adobe.com. And I'll be there. We're going to have a lot of people on the XD team there to meet you, to get your questions, to share feedback, to get your feedback, and really bring you into this conversation. This is the first time that I kind of see that Adobe is really involved in having the community really help us shape the future and how XD evolves as a platform, right? XD now, almost 3 years later, it's a lot more than just a tool that runs on Mac and Windows. XD is really a platform, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. Cool. Alex is saying that we need a dark UI. That's a great request, Alex. We get that a lot. And if you can, please upvote that on user voice, so adobeXD.uservoice.com, and there you can suggest any feature requests like the dark UI for XD, and file bugs, and really have your voice amplified because other people can vote on it, and it's a great resource for that. But thanks for that feedback. All right, yeah, and Lindsay posted the exact feature about the dark UI. Thanks, Lindsay, that was great. All right, so that was the first thing, max.adobe.com. Another thing that I'd like to show here is we know that you guys and all of our customers are very busy. It's very hard for you to stop and learn what's new in XD or what's happening in the industry. There's a lot of great resources coming up all the time, and thinking about that, I decided to create two videos, one for Mac and one for Windows, covering pretty much the core features of XD: design prototype, sharing, not only sharing with stakeholders but also sharing with developers in 5 minutes. So you can go to this link, and Lindsay can post that link there. The whole goal here is to show you XD in 5 minutes. So if you have a teammate, or if you have a friend that's interested in learning, if you know XD, and if you're interested in sharing that what XD really is with your friends, you can share these links. And in 5 minutes, all we ask is 5 minutes. Take a look, and you'll be impressed on how far you got. And again, this is a response to the fact that we know that you are busy and your time is valuable. There's a lot of new features every month shipping in XD. It's hard to keep up with that, so this is an attempt to help you with that. Cool. Another thing I'd like to show here is that we've recently released a new website. If you go to xd.adobe.com and you get to resources, this is a new page that allows you to download a lot of XD assets, a lot of XD files. And for example, here I have the top ones are maintained by Apple, Google, and Microsoft, and these are links to their website. So if you go here, you can, for example, the Apple one, you can access their resources, and you can download the one for XD here, iOS 12 here for XD. If you go to the Google one here, you can see this is already the link to it, and also the Microsoft one with a lot of assets there for you if you're designing for Windows, for the Windows platform. And if you scroll down, you see a lot of very, very useful resources that you can download for free and start using. One is the wireframe UI kit. This is a set of wireframes for web projects and mobile projects, and literally it has like hundreds of assets here. Again, I will show you that here. I have it. So the wires one, it has one for mobile, one for web, and let's say I want to do a mobile app or even a website. I can then drag this to XD and open, and here you can see it has hundreds of assets. Not only the pattern UI that you can see here, the colors, some footers, some headers that you can just copy and paste into your projects, but a lot of use cases. So if it's the web one here, you have landing pages, you have portfolio sections, you have forms. We know a lot of people do form design, and again, you just copy paste into your project, and maybe change the color and all that, but this will speed up your design process a lot. So I highly recommend that you spend time playing with these kits. And then we have the smartwatch one. I really like this Navigo one. It's really nice for transportation apps. We have one for dashboard design, and so forth and so on. There's a lot of very good assets there. Again, just download the XD document, copy the assets from that file, and then start using it in your project. Cool. Let's see if you have any other questions here before I show more stuff. No big questions. Henrik is saying, make published prototypes available in the XD iOS, please. You mean the links, the web links available in the mobile app? Yeah. Again, if you can add that to user voice as a feature request. Back then, I was managing the mobile apps, and I remember having that as a great idea. And if it comes up as a big need for more people voting on that, we can look at it and make it happen. So far, you have to really access the link and see that in the browser, or you can really connect. If you're using a Mac, you can connect your phone using USB, and you can see that in real time. If you unplug, that gets cached, or you can even place your documents. This is true for Mac and Windows. You can place your XD documents inside your Creative Cloud files folder, like I have here, and then on mobile you can not only see them, but you can also make them available for offline use. So you can mark them for offline use, and then you can, let's say you have 3 projects that you need to do some user testing with real customers. You can mark them for offline use, and then with the mobile app you can do that right from the app. Cool. Jay's saying good shirt. Nice. Yeah, this is work from our friend in Germany, Jay Messenger. Like he's a really heavy metal guy, and he did a lot of XD shirts. And I think if you ping him on Twitter, he might react. And maybe I heard that sometimes he sent people that T-shirt. I don't want to promise anything, but there's a lot there. Cool. And Lindsay can post the link to his Twitter account, so maybe you can ask him. I don't know. Who knows, right? All right. Let's see here if we have more questions. Hello from Mexico. Hey, Everaldo. I really like Mexico. I go there all the time. Cool. All right. Let's we saw the 5-minute videos, we saw the resources page. Now let's talk about what was released in our XD 11, our August update in more detail. All right, I'm gonna open XD here, and I will open the Navigo UI kit that I was mentioning, just because it's super cool and it has a lot of great resources. You can download that for free. You have the pattern library here. So the first feature that was released is if you use the assets panel. So I don't know if you guys play with that a lot, but let's say for some reason I share this, I get feedback, and I need to change the color from this dark gray here to something else. I don't know, maybe a lighter gray or something like that. Of course I can go here and change one by one, like to a lighter gray like that. But this will take time, right? Because I have a lot of assets out there. We have the assets panel here that you can access on the bottom left, or view assets. And here you can see the colors that the designer saved for this document, the character styles that the designer saved for this document. But if I have another color here, let's say I have this red and I want to save it here, I just select one element or multiple elements, and then with the assets panel open, I can click here and I'll get that color there. And as you remember last time, you were able to name it. So if you almost like you can create your design system right there. Oh, we have that problem with the red when live streaming. Let me change this to a different color like that. Perfect. So it stops getting crazy there. All right, and this is almost like a cyan there. Cool. So you can name your colors. Maybe you use some way of like naming your elements. Maybe a reverse domain like com.adobe.im, or some number. You can really name that. Or same with your character styles. You can name them like H1, H2, just to keep track of that better. But what's new now with the XD August release is that you can now select one element and reorder. Like you can move it up, move it down, or I can move entire groups. I can hold shift, for example, select more than one and then move everyone up. So I can really organize how I want it to be displayed, and that gives me the ability to organize things more focused on the way you guys want to do that. So that's there. And of course you can go back to your grid view here and see things more as a preview, as a big preview. But if you want to name or reorder, you can go to the list view here and do that there. And as I name this, I can also search for things, right? As you saw that. Cool. So that's the first new feature that shipped in our August update. The other one that I think was probably the biggest one in a long time is that when you have your design created, then you do your prototype, then you share with stakeholders, you get a lot of feedback, you go back to your design to make all the necessary changes and validate, like it's ready, right? Like now this is validated with users, this is validated with stakeholders. Now it's time to share this with developers so that developers can really make it happen, build that. And up until now, you could do file export elements as SVG, as PNG, as JPEG, or as PDF, and then share that with the developer. Or you could create design specs, but it was a very like not 100% complete process, because the developers with the design spec, they couldn't get assets from the design spec, and I'll show you that. Or they could go connect with tools like Zeppelin, right? You could go to file export and then send it to Zeppelin, Avocode, and all that. But now the design specs got better. I think it's almost complete now, because you can, let's say I want to share these two screens with my developer. I'll copy this, create a new document, and I paste it. So let's say I created this whole project. It's validated, ready to go. Now I need to send this to a developer. I can go here, and on the top right where it says share, and here I can publish a prototype to get feedback from stakeholders, or I can publish a design spec to send it to a developer. So I can say my mobile app. It picked the iOS artboard size, and it's giving you some, it's picking there, but if you want to change to, let's say, web or Android, just to get the right units there, this would be points. If it was web, would be pixels and all that. Here you can add a password if you want to this design spec, create a public link, a password protected link, or you can even share something more privately. So if you click here down to create a private link, I'll give it a title. So let's say my mobile app. I'll create a private link. It's now uploading these guys to the cloud as a private link, and only people that I invite via email will be able to, let me share this email. Hey dev, check it out. So I can say, okay, now I'm inviting people there. Okay, cool. So now if I go to that email here, and you can see I got that invite here, and as a developer I can click on this, log in and all that, and only I can see this, which is great. So as a developer, I can come here now, I can select elements, see measurements. So if I select a little phone icon, I can hover other elements and see how distant it is from other elements, so I can get a better sense of that. If I click outside, I get colors here, where they're used. If I hover, it shows where they're used. If I select the fonts here, the character styles, it will show me where they're used. Even if I do, if I have, for example, let's say I use a layout grade here, and then I publish that, I'll just update that link. So now that I have a layout grid, you know, developers really like that when they build the website or the mobile app. If I refresh that link, now down here, I'll have access to the layout grid as a developer. So I can see that, I can make it stronger or lighter. But that's everything here was already there, right? What's new in our August release is that now developers don't need to have Zeppelin, or you as a designer don't have to you don't have to export every single asset from XD. All the designer needs is to send this link to a developer, and the developer can get everything, including assets. So let's see how that works. So let's say I'm a developer here, and I need this picture here as a JPEG, right? Because I want to implement that. So what I can do is, as a developer, I can come here and say, hey, please mark this exportable or something like that, and then I submit. So as a developer, I can do that, and then me, the designer, can get that feedback, and I can go to XD and say, okay, now my developer needs this image. I select that image, go here to my layers panel on the bottom left, and I can say this avatar, which is that little guy, I will mark it for export. I can click on that little icon, or I can right click and say mark for batch export. That's all I gotta do. Now I just need to update that link, and now it's sending not only the information about measurements and all that, but it's also sending the asset. So now if I refresh this as a developer and I click on the little guy there, you can see that it brought the information about that guy, but it also gave me an ability here to download that asset as PNG or PDF. Let's say I want to do a PNG, I download, and we can see that in Finder. You get that, where is it? Avatar, it's a zip, and because it's based on iOS, you give me 1x, 2x, and 3x PNGs there. Very, very cool. So you can have these conversations. You can say, hey, now designer, please mark, I don't know how many elements and all that for export. And then all the designer has to do is go to XD, mark the element for export, and then the developer can go on that link in the browser and just download right from there. If you click outside here to see the global area, you can see all the assets. And I click there, and again, I can download here right from there. So very, very cool, very, very useful. And again, the developer doesn't need to have XD anymore. All they need is the link, and also have these conversations with the designer so the designer can mark the little elements for export. Cool. Let's see if we have questions there. I have one question here from Scarlett. How to fill object in XD? Please describe. What do you mean by that? Maybe, let's say I go to a website here that has an image, or I have something in the browser. Let's say surf. I love surfing. I can search for that. It's gonna search in the Adobe stock or any other website that has images. I can fill objects in a couple ways. So let's say here I'm in design mode and I have a placeholder for my image. I can drag the images from Finder or from Chrome here directly to that shape, and now it becomes the fill of that shape. I can resize this never gets distorted. I can double click to adjust where I want that within that, almost like a mask, and click outside to commit. Or if I want to replace that, I can say, okay, now I want to use this one. I can right click, copy. So I have that image in memory now. I can right click here and say paste appearance, and we'll place that image as the new fill, and I can adjust here. So if I got the question right, this is how you can fill object with images in XD. Oh, how to flip an object. I just saw that question. So flip is something that's coming very, very soon, and we know it's a big basic feature, but stay tuned, that's coming very, very, very soon. I have another build that has it, and I can show you maybe next week when we do the sneak. All right, there's another question from Vitaly here. What about the resolution for pictures which are marked for export? That's a great question, and because XD is based on this virtual pixel, the whole idea is, let's say I have this guy, or I'll get an image here that, let's see, assets, images, profile. I'll get my image here. So I drag that image from the browser, it's from Finder to XD. So now this is here. So if I want this exported as 1x, all I gotta do is go to File, Export, select it, and then I pick PNG design. You'll give me the same image as 1x. If I want this image at 1x and 2x, what I recommend is, if you don't do anything and if you pick that, export, select it, and you pick, for example, the web preset that gives you 1x and 2x assets, the 2x asset will be double the size of this guy, and you'll be very blurry because that asset is not ready for it. So what I recommend is, anytime you need an asset, let's say a 2x, you bring it as 1x like this, and then you divide it by 2, So it's 120 there. Then now if I go to File, Export, select it, and I pick Web, asking for the 2x version of it, then I'll get one image at 1x that's really good, and I'll get another image at 2x that's really good. So I hope that answers your question. So again, if you need 3x, make sure you bring that image at 3x, as big as you want, and then you resize to 2x to 1x and export things out. I hope that answers your question right there. The only place you can change the export quality is if you pick JPEG. Then you can play with a slider there to, not a slider, with a number here to decrease or increase the quality. That's the only way of playing with that quality. But again, I hope that explanation about the 1x, 2x, and 3x makes sense, and hope it helps. Cool. Let's see if we have questions here. Hey Chris, cool feature will help the developer and designer work easily. Thanks Bill. One day we'll have them. Cool. All right, so we saw two features that landed. The other feature that landed there is that, I don't know if you remember, but here I created a link for developers. This could be for the designer as well, for the stakeholder. And here I invited one person, right? And because this is a private link, what's available now in that, where is that link? Here. Is that if I go to comment, I can also mention something with @ So as you can see here, as soon as I type @ the @ sign, I get the recommendation of everyone who was part of that. Another thing that's, and then if I mention like Demian Borba asset is ready, and then submit, that the person will be notified as well. Another thing that you can do, and this is on the link for stakeholders, so if you want to publish your prototype, my app, oh, let's do a private link as well. So I'll say my mobile app. To get feedback from stakeholder, I can create a private link. It's gonna share the artboards there. Then I can invite a person. Oh, let's do the Gmail one that I had before. Perfect. Invite. So now stakeholders with that can go to their emails. Let's see here. I got that invite. I can view this prototype as a stakeholder to give feedback. And here I'm logged in as a person invited. But if I log in as a person, like as the owner of this link, one thing you can see is this link called invite. So here I can manage people that have access to that private link. For example, I can remove that person from here. I can invite another person right from here. So I don't have to be in XD to add or remove people as well if I'm the owner of this link. So here I remove, and that's there. So this is another great way of getting feedback and managing who can see that. So that's also new, the ability to mention and to invite people from within the browser. So that's all that was released in August. Very soon we're gonna release our September release, and there's a lot of great things coming. Next Monday we're gonna do a sneak of a couple things that are landing there, and yeah, just stay tuned. Next Monday 11 a.m. Pacific time, I'll be there showing that to you. Another thing that I like to mention here, more as a recommendation, Raghu Thrikovil, one of the product managers focused on growth for XD, is really interested in talking to you if you are interested about maybe to learn why you're not using XD, maybe why you are using XD. We're really trying to get a lot of qualitative data, and if you want to be part of that, just reach out to Raghu. He's an amazing guy, and we're really getting personal again, not only with the live streams, with important people, directors and all that, interacting with users on Twitter, on social media. We're also having all the PMs really interested in getting feedback. Not only PMs, like developers, designers, everyone working on XD is really, really interested in getting your feedback. All right, so that was it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this stream. We saw the new features that got released in August. Very soon we're gonna have our September release. Then Max, we're gonna have another release, bigger, amazing release for XD. There's a lot of great things in the works. I cannot wait to show you all that and get your feedback, right? So the whole team is really dedicated to deliver a lot of great features. Just stay tuned. If you have feedback, again, please go to user voice, adobexd.uservoice.com. There you can suggest feature requests and file bugs. Make sure you join our Facebook page, facebook.com/Adobe XD CC. This is where we're doing this and more things. And another thing that's coming up next week, we're going to do another daily creative challenge. So this is a great opportunity for you to play with XD and go through a challenge, be part of a Slack channel with XD people, and then you can get feedback not only from the XD team, but also from designers all over the world. All right, guys, so thank you very much for all the great questions. I don't see any burning questions here. I see Chris is asking for versions. Versioning and collaboration is something that we're looking at for over a year now, and we're doing a lot of work there. Stay tuned, we're gonna have more information later, but make sure you upvote the feature in user voice so you can stay connected to that whole conversation. All right, Henrik is asking, is it only on Windows that opening full screen does not work? I gotta double check on my Windows computer to see what you mean, but I'll follow up with you later. Again, feel free to follow me on Twitter as well. This is my Twitter handle. I'm there all the time. We have a lot of people on the XD team all the time there. So again, thank you very, very much for spending the time to see this, to hear me. And again, if you have any questions, any feedback, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. And yeah, talk to you next week. Bye.